1999, 15 to 16 years old. 8th grade got a little bit better towards the end of the year. Some people started to like me more, but I still had the reputation of being a person with no friends. I met a friend next door named Tom. We became really close friends. I became close friends with Tom, kind of like how I was close friends with Kim. I thought it was very interesting to have another close friend in a different area, in a new place, and appreciate things just like how I did with my close friend in Massachusetts. I thought it was very fascinating to kind of appreciate the similarities, but yet differences between having two friendships. Tom gave me a lot of advice socially and tried to get me more familiar with a lot of things that people in our school did. He tried to teach me how to play basketball and taught me how to play wrestling games. I, however, really wasn't interested in it though. We did a lot of fun things together though, nonetheless. We often stayed up really late and we rode our bikes around the neighborhood at like 2 o'clock in the morning. One time we pulled an all-nighter and snuck out and rented an X-rated film. We were friends for a long time. I, however, was wounded by the realization of my social skills and the reputation I had in school. It kind of scarred me. I started to shut down socially. It became really scared to be around people my age. I felt like I wasn't good enough to be around people my age and unworthy to make friends. This made me feel really embarrassed whenever I was around someone and had the opportunity to talk to them. I felt really nervous. This is basically because I had low insecurity. Once I started high school, I was really nervous to start it. But once I started high school, I found I enjoyed it a lot more than 8th grade. During the summer, I really kind of like starting 8th grade. I really looked at that grade and pulled out all the stops. Thought about, what are the things that make you cool? What are the things that help you make friends? And I kind of gave me some time to really think about it. Nonetheless, I was really feeling unconfident and nervous about starting that grade. But once I started high school, though, I found things did get better. I got much better grades in this year. In fact, I got A's and B's. And I felt like my dedication trying to catch up academically was starting to pay off. I was, however, still behind in reading. Whenever I read assignments, I had to read them really slow or else I couldn't even comprehend it. It was like reading words but not even like hearing what it was saying. I had only a 4th grade reading level. I tried to improve on my reading skills as much as I could during my spare time. Whenever I did reading assignments in English class, I often threw fits and got really frustrated because it was just so hard reading the book assignments and reading assignments and understanding it. One time when trying to read To Kill a Mockingbird, I started cussing in the resource room and actually threw the book across the room and started to cry. Even though I got frustrated sometimes with schoolwork, I still did very well not getting frustrated in class. Nobody even knew that I was even a person that got frustrated, that misbehaved, that I was the type of person that people in Massachusetts knew. And that made me feel really good. Even though most of the kids thought of me as kind of a dork, it was much better than kids thinking that I was a person with a disability. And that kind of made me feel like I was a normal person, and I loved it. I decided to join a sport to improve my social skills and make friends when I was in high school. I decided to join the Detroit Boat Club rowing crew. Rowing was a very tough sport, however, and it required a lot of dedication. Probably more dedication than most sports in high school, actually. I had to practice twice a day. One practice, I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and then practice until 7 in the morning, then go to school. And then after school, I had another practice. We did a lot of tough exercises and workouts. I lifted weights. I ran 3 miles pretty much every day. I practiced rowing on the boats and did extremely tough 2-kilometer workouts on rowing machines. Even though rowing was really tough and it involved a lot of working out and dealing with pain, I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed rowing because I really liked the feeling of feeling like I belonged to something. I belonged to a team. I was a part that made this team into a whole, and that really made me feel good. Even if I really didn't feel like I was totally fitting in socially, I still feel like I was part of something. I also liked, another thing I liked about rowing was I always loved to travel. I love traveling when I traveled to regattas, when we rowed in the races, I often went to Ohio and Canada. I rowed for 3 years when I was in high school, and I actually won a lot of medals. I won first place in a lot of races. I became a really competitive athlete in this sport. At rowing, people seemed to like me overall, and I continue to challenge myself in my social skills. I overall had a good reputation in this team. People seemed to like me because I tried hard at the sport and they appreciated it. People also liked me because I was a nice person. I found being nice was a huge benefit in helping me socialize and helping people like me. It was a good asset, and I used that. I found it wise to compensate for my niceness since I struggled more in other areas of my social skills. I improved a lot in my social skills, however, in the areas I was weak at. I listened to people when they talked. I tried to listen to what they're saying. I always got myself involved when they did things like go out to eat during the regattas and hung out. I did my best to try to contribute in the conversation, even though if it meant just saying pretty much one word every 5 minutes. Despite the fact I was happy about my improvements, I was still not happy about the fact that I was not being myself. Even though I wasn't happy about me and myself, I was improving on my social skills. I really didn't like living in Grosse Pointe, Michigan compared to Massachusetts, but I was beginning to get more happier about things. One thing I loved about living in Michigan, however, was I got to see my mom more often. I got to see her at least twice a month. I often saw her on the weekends and during the holidays. I often rode a bus on Fridays up to Flint, and I got to spend the weekend with her. And then I rode the bus back on Sunday night to go back home. I would have so much fun seeing her, and I thought riding the bus was very relaxing. There was something about riding the bus that I really enjoyed on Fridays en route to my mom's house. I enjoyed reflecting on the week and thinking about all the good things that has happened, such as all the improvements that I made in my social progress. It was kind of like a relaxing celebration. It was rewarding. And when I saw my mom, that was fun too, obviously. We often watched movies, we in restaurants. She took me shopping to buy me some cool clothes because she knew how important it was to help me fit in. I felt like I could be myself around her, and that was just so much fun. It felt so great being myself around her. However, I had to admit I felt like I was a dork though when I was being myself. School weeks were, at least I thought I felt like a dork. School weeks where I knew I would see her would make the whole entire week exciting. It was like an anticipation. I noticed my mom seemed to be doing much better too. Ever since I started seeing my mom around this time, it seemed like her bipolar illness was going away. She seemed more happy. She seemed more dynamic and full of energy. It seemed like she was in touch with things. Overall, she seemed happier. I really liked the way she seemed to be lately. I noticed my mom was reading a lot of books about God around this time. I saw a magazine in her car one time and tried to look at it. I saw a lot of stuff relating to God that seemed to pertain to that seemed to not really pertain to any religion, and I kind of liked it. I noticed my mom talked a lot about dreams with her friends. One time she was around her, and one time she was around one of her best friends, and we went on a walk around this one area where her friend had a dream about it. I figured people probably would have thought that what we were doing was kind of weird, but I liked it. Her friend was a massage therapist, and they talked a lot about chakras. I didn't know what all that meant, but I didn't discount any of it because I knew it was helping her in some way, and I knew that was good.